Aloha, this is Pastor Tom Choi welcoming you to our Wednesday check-in for October 7th, 2020. In the midst of the attention on the president's health condition, we have seen several news conferences with the White House and Walter Reed Hospital medical teams, along with the customary news commentary afterward. One of the phrases that I heard fairly often was something from the Hippocratic Oath, the oath that was traditionally taken by physicians as they began practicing medicine. It begins with the phrase, "First, do no harm." What that reminded me was of the 3 simple rules that are attributed to John Wesley and made popular in United Methodist circles by Bishop Reuben Job. The 3 simple rules that John Wesley asked Methodists to live by were: do no harm, do good, stay in love with God. When I first became aware of the 3 simple rules many years ago, I always wondered why do no harm was first. I then realized that this was a part of the Hippocratic Oath. First, do no harm. Now, was there a connection? Well, yes. John Wesley, a very well-read man, was very much interested in medicine, science, and health, and studied medical journals and publications almost as much as he did theology books. In fact, in 1747, a short book called Primitive Physic that gave some basic medical advice for every home was published. This paperback book of 119 pages, which was the same cost, 1 shilling, as buying 4 oranges, was widely popular. Primitive Physic advocated fresh air, cleanliness, and readily digestible food, and specifically omitted potentially toxic substances such as opium and quicksilver, or mercury, both highly toxic and dangerous. And these were in common usage and even recommended by contemporary medical works. Primitive Physic was intended to be a self-help manual. Wesley quoted many well-known doctors to give the poor the benefit of their otherwise unattainable advice. Primitive Physic was one of the most popular books of Wesley's time, with 20 editions in just 25 years in 1781 and 36 editions by 1840. Wesley's first 2 rules, do no harm and do good, also seem to follow another teaching from the Hippocratic School of Medical Practice: either help or do no harm to the patient. What's striking to me is that even in the mid-18th century, a devout and evangelical clergyman was so committed to following his faith and science. Why we often don't seem to do the same mystifies me. Wesley's blending of medicine and spirituality came together with his 3rd simple rule: stay in love with God. To me, it is clear that with Wesley, taking care of your physical health, studying the science and medicine of the day was absolutely crucial to being a spiritual, whole, and grounded person. I remember my wife, Becky, telling me that I needed to be healthy for the sake of our daughters. To love my children is to be as physically and spiritually healthy as I can be. And I believe that to be in love with God is to be as physically and spiritually healthy as I can be. Here's a mask that was given to me by the staff. It has rule number 1 on it, do no harm, and a picture of John Wesley. I believe that in order to stay in love with God, I need not only to be personally healthy, but also to do no harm and try and protect God's people, all of us, by wearing a mask, keeping socially distant, and using hand sanitizer and washing of hands. Right now, this is the most important good that I can do. In the 18th century, Wesley gave great advice for the people of his day. It's still good advice this day. Amen. Our Zoom prayer group starts in a few moments. Join us this Sunday at 10 a.m. for online worship in English. As usual, we will have live prayers and wonderful music. I hope you'll join us. Our Tongan worship is online at 11 a.m. Until then, do no harm, do good, and stay in love with God. 3 simple rules. Amen.